This week on the bonus round, legendary game director David Jaffe, senior reporter for Polygon Michael McWhirter, and from the newest, latest, best, Jeff Cannata, join the show to share what games they're most looking forward to in 2013. Will our panel be keeping an eye out for The Last of Us, or is there another game on their list? The answer may surprise you.
I want Supergirl, and I want Mary Marvel, and I want the dog, Superman's dog.
Check out what's on our radar as the bonus round starts right now. Hey, we're back here on the bonus round from I Am 8-Bit with David Jaffe, Michael McWhirter, and Jeff Cannata. Now we're going to turn this week to looking forward, the most anticipated games of 2013. There have been a lot of great games so far, and of course we've got new PlayStation launching later this year, presumably a new Xbox, although they haven't announced when it's releasing. It's a quiet time, though, for the next few months, I think, for game releases. There's The Last of Us coming out in June, but beyond that, there's not a lot on the horizon, at least for me, until we get into the fall. Jeff, what are you looking forward to right now? What are you jazzed about?
I'm jazzed about a lot of games, and I think we actually don't know more than we know, which is also really exciting to me. And I think this console generation has the potential to have one of the strongest launch lineups ever, because basically we're getting souped up PCs. And so it's not like there's going to be as big of a learning curve as we've had historically. But for the stuff that we already know, I mean, you already mentioned Last of Us, of course, Beyond Two Souls, I'm super excited about as a huge Heavy Rain fan. I'm really excited about the South Park game, Stick of Truth, which was supposed to be out already and got delayed. I'm a big MMO fan. I think WildStar looks really exciting. That's supposed to come out this year.
And one game we haven't talked about, which will probably be the biggest game of the year, Grand Theft Auto 5. A little game called that's coming in September. What I think is so interesting this year is that there's some cool next-gen games coming out, and we'll see what Xbox has to talk about and Sony at E3. But some of the best games, you think of what game of the year is going to look like at the end of the year. I mean, you're going to have a game like BioShock in there. You presumably have a Last of Us. You're going to have a Grand Theft Auto 5, and I wonder at the end of the year, what will be that mix between next-gen and current-gen games? They're going to be the best games of the year, and I think there are going to be some current-gen games that might even be better.
Well,
some of these
even
next-gen
indie
games.
stuff. I mean, last year,
Journey
wasn't really indie, but I mean, compared to, but
Indian spirit,
I mean, very Indian spirit, and I mean, I'm sure you got to factor those in as well. I mean,
no, that's why I think it's just going to be interesting because normally I think a console Switch, everyone will be like, oh, well, it's all going to be next-gen games. That's what everyone's excited about. And this year, I think there's going to be some really interesting stuff that's still coming out on these existing consoles. Michael, what about for you besides Dark Souls 2?
Well, unfortunately, I don't know if Dark Souls 2 is going to make it this year. But
oh, really?
Well, I think there's a lot of ambiguity about when a lot of these games are going to be hitting, especially some of the things that I'm most excited about. Dark Souls, Bayonetta 2, exactly.
I know your list. Yep. So predictable.
But yeah, I mean, there are a lot of interesting indie titles that I'm looking forward to. The Witness from Jonathan Blow and Super Time Force from Cappy Games. Those guys, continue to impress. They're always putting out cool stuff. Yeah, I mean, there are some big blockbuster things that I'm interested in. Metal Gear Solid 5 and The Last of Us. But I think I've mentioned my fatigue with the certain franchises that you're kind of wearing a little thin.
Well, I think there's some. I mean, even one that I'm a little worried about, I think, is Assassin's Creed 4, and then it's just sort of like, last year 3, I was really psyched about what they were doing, and then when they introduced the pirates, I'm like, I'm kind of a little on the fence about that one. And they did Naval last year, so Naval this year is interesting, but the same thing they did last year. I mean, maybe they're really going to deliver on that, but it's
These just a lot of, like I said before, a lot of these feel like passes to me at this point, where it's like I'm so backlogged on Assassin's Creed games that I have no idea what's going to happen in Assassin's Creed 4.
And you say, same thing with Batman. We haven't seen a lot on that, but it's like, as you said, like Rocksteady's done such an amazing job. Can those guys really capture that and deliver that this year? But it seems like publishers are under this pressure to sort of make these yearly churns. But then Assassins, you look at 3, I mean, it was massive for Ubisoft. It just crossed over in a big way. Yeah. So when they're looking at the books, it's sort of, they have to keep doing them.
Well, that's one of the reasons I'm so excited about next-gen consoles is that, hopefully they are going to start taking some chances with trying to establish new IP for these platforms. We saw Sony kind of get a few things out of the way when they announced the PS4. They announced the new Killzone and a new Infamous. But I feel like that was just like, hey, we're still going to give you some of these franchises that we like, but now they're saving all the new stuff, maybe The Last Guardian, I don't know, for E3.
You think so? I mean, I just wonder with, E3, I mean, maybe they'll announce some big games that are coming at launch, but I kind of wonder, because it's like you think they've shown a bunch of stuff. I mean, even Xbox, it's kind of an open question in May. Like, I mean, They just released a Halo. They just released a Gears.
But
what's
the
that
Gears
big
was sort of
surprise?
like
In between. Gears?
yeah, it wasn't a mainline Gears. I feel like
I don't know, do you think we're gonna get Gears 4 though for the launch of the Xbox?
There could be. I think that's
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is that it is this weird state where we sort of know a lot of stuff that's coming this year. GTA in September, I mean, is going to be absolutely massive. There's a new Call of Duty. There's a new Assassins. But you're right. Is there that surprise that's going to pop out at
I
E3?
think there are a lot of teams that we haven't heard from recently.
I just wonder if those are going to be next year versus like shipping at the launch of these systems, which is difficult. And I think in some ways, the games that are going to be some of the best games in the fall are going to be on these current systems, or Assassins will probably be on next gen and current gen.
Yeah.
Same thing with Call of Duty. Same thing with Battlefield, right? And you're going to see these games that almost feel cross-generational, I guess, right? Because I'd be interested to see who's really going to put a bet on like this is a next-gen only game. And if Tomb Raider is a disappointment with selling 3 million units, I mean, how many units are you going to sell of a blockbuster $50 million game on an install base of $1 million boxes?
Right.
Can't do it. So how do we solve this all, Jeffy?
Well, look, I think the fact that you guys are sitting around talking, I mean, look, Assassin's pirates are cool, okay? And the they've shown for that looked awesome.
You're in?
I'm
All right.
yeah, but the fact that you guys are kind of, I'm kind of tired. But in a lot of ways, I think that honestly speaks more to what has happened because of these other game experiences that have come along that are more interesting. I think it's less about, the big budget guys aren't showing up and giving you anything cool.
Right.
So there's some pretty cool things. I mean, the stuff that you guys are talking about, Last of Us, I hear is, I was talking to Scott Rohde, who runs Worldwide, or America Worldwide, which makes no sense, America Worldwide. He runs the American version of Worldwide Studios.
Yes.
And he one of the things I hate about, publisher, this guy knows more about games than all of us put together. He's the most hardcore gamer I've ever met in my life. And I'm in there, we're talking Tomb Raider, and I'm like, dude, that's my game of the year.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, it's great, but Last of Us, he's like, just trust me, Jaffe, that is amazing, right? So I look at that, I'm excited. I look at Assassins, I'm excited. But I also, I think a lot of it is, it's not so much franchise fatigue. It's sort of, it's like you've been eating fast food for so long and you've started to get a nibble of like a Ruth's Chris steak and you're kind of like, I've tasted something better.
I totally agree with you.
Interesting. And
I totally agree with you. And I think that's what, when you see the massive success, the massive amount of time that people are putting into Minecraft.
That's all I play because my kids like, let's play Minecraft, Dad. I'm like, we could play
It's because
Injustice?
what you're fundamentally doing is different. I think people are excited about creating things, and I want to know where the rush is to fill that vacuum from publishers. We've been shooting stuff for a few years now, and it's fun to shoot stuff, and it's fun to shoot prettier stuff. But at a certain point, I think when we have the technology upgrade, I want to have the interactivity upgrade as well, and do more complicated, interesting things.
And even I remember like back when Sony unveiled Little Big Planet and things like that, where people were just like, it was just fresh and different and unique. And you're right, like what I think we want to avoid. Even Battlefield 4 looks amazing visually.
Yeah.
But I mean, from a core innovation standpoint, I mean, it's another shooter that looks more beautiful. We'll see what Call of Duty, what they have to say on that, and when they show that. But yeah, I think that's a challenge. I think Last of Us looks like just incredibly fresh. GTA, it's been 4 years since they brought out GTA. So I mean, that could be absolutely massive.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be a scenario that the best games this year are on current consoles, not next-gen consoles.
As a fanboy, I have to say, I am any Injustice DLC, Ed Boon, if you're watching, I will buy. I want Supergirl, and I want Mary Marvel, and I want the dog, Superman's dog, and what else do I want?
Crypto the Superdog?
I want Crypto the Superdog.
Okay, yeah.
And so I want all that. And then Marvel Heroes, even though I'm only just getting into the beta, I'm enjoying it, and so I want a lot more of that. So I'll play that, please. Thank you.
Superheroes. All right.
You can send it to my house. Thank you very
Or
much.
superhero
I'm
games.
everything.
And are we playing Injustice? That's good?
I love it. I mean, I can never separate my fanboy from, anything Indiana Jones, Marvel, or DC.
Right.
I simply love. And so, is it a great game? I don't know. I think it is because I love Mortal Kombat. But the fact that I'm able to have Superman versus Batman versus Wonder Woman, I'm
Why
in.
has somebody not hired you to make an Indiana Jones game?
Honestly, if I would love to make an Indiana Jones game if we could do
Disney
it
should give you a call.
at a low budget. Part of the problem is every time Indiana Jones goes up, everybody treats it like it's this AAA franchise. And it's not compared to Star Wars. So if you look at the box office, and I could knock your off, it's all they never do as well as say the huge like Batman in '89 or the new Star Wars versus the new Indiana Jones. But if you could actually treat it in a way that actually knew sort of what the fan base wanted and you budgeted accordingly, oh, I'd love to do that. It'd be so much fun.
This is the Kickstarter right here.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sure Kathy Kennedy, if you're watching, give me a shout.
We know
Participate
she
again.
does.
David Jaffe's Indiana Jones.
That's right. That's right.
All right, guys, hold that thought. We're going to be right back here on the bonus round.